Our top story tonight, San Antonio gathered today to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jeff Brady. Organizers estimate nearly 400,000 people marched on the city's east side today, as you can see from Chopper 5, to remember the iconic civil rights leader and his message. Eyewitness News reporter Aaron Wright joins us with how that all-American fight for inclusion has grown.
For thousands across San Antonio, today's march represents a chance to spread Dr. King's message, as well as bring important issues to the community.
Free information, education, confidential testing.
For Beat AIDS, it was a chance to talk about health with the community. According to the CDC, nearly 500,000 African Americans have HIV, and 1 in 6 don't know it.
Because there's a disproportionate share of HIV among African American citizens.
In many ways, that desire to educate and uplift coincides with the goal of the San Antonio March. The city's first march happened in 1987. Before that, marches were held to bring attention to issues on the east side. One group using today to discuss black history is the Bexar County Buffalo Soldiers Association.
And they walked pretty much this way here to San Antonio to actually do their basic training and then push west to protect the West.
Their goal is to make sure the Buffalo Soldiers aren't forgotten.
Everybody who does not know how to fit in but feel like that they're alone, they're really not, because there's always something new that they can do and to help them cope with bullying.
For many, the Sea of Thousands is reassurance Dr. King's legacy and mission will live on here in San Antonio.
I think that's great. That shows that the legacy of Dr. King is living on, and looks like in the future that it's just going to get better with this younger generation.
Aaron Wright, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.